Tonight on The Al Denson Show, join Al and his guest, Bo Eggert. Al Denson. Answering your email questions, Dr. Tim Clinton. Jeff Calhoun and the Al Denson Show Band. Now, here's your host, Al Denson.
Welcome to the Al Denson Show. Man, we're glad you guys are watching. Listen, the purpose of our show is to get parents and students to see a little bit more eye to eye on different issues we face. And one thing we're talking about today is dads. Now, if you're watching there and you're dad, pay attention, cut the TV up, because we're going to let you just know how significant you are in your family. And I remember, like with my dad, remember one of the wildest things. You know, sometimes dads do things to their kids just to entertain themselves. You ever figured that out? You know what I'm saying? And my dad, he thought it was like this Halloween time, and I was little, but I was ornery. And my dad gave me this bag, and he said, now come on, son, we're going to go knock on people's doors and get candy. And I was thinking, cool. So my dad wanted me to go down two houses down to my neighbor's house, because my neighbor had put this like a little coffin-like looking thing in his front door, and he was hiding in it. So when you came up and rang the doorbell, you're supposed to stand there, and then when they answer, he's like, trick or treat. So I'm standing there waiting, and all of a sudden you hear this, and then he would pop out of that little thing, go, ah, scare us. And my dad wanted to sit out with the other dads and watch how freaked out all the kids got, like, ah, you know what I'm saying? So, sure enough, this happens, and man, it scared me to death. I threw my bag of candy at the dude, and I took off running, you know, and and then they're all going, ah, you know? And I said, so I'm figuring out, now, I'm only like 12, you know, but I figured this thing out. They're playing a joke on me. So I went back down to the house. I went in the garage, I got my dad's hammer, and I got some nails. And I said, I know what to do. So I went back down. My dad said, what are you doing? I said, oh, I just had to get me another bag, Dad. Well, in the bag, I got the hammer and nails, right? So I go back up to the front. He said, he's going back up again. Well, sure enough, I know he's in there, right? So I just took that hammer and started going, gee, gee, gee. I nailed that guy shut in there. He couldn't get out again. Didn't matter who came. That sucker was stuck in there. So I said, I knew I was a happy camper. But I thought to myself, you know, when I think of memories, that's one of the funniest things I think of, that my dad started playing jokes on me. And it's turned out that, you know what? Now I love playing jokes on other people. And I think it started way back when my dad was doing stuff like to me. And I look at Jeff, and Jeff and I get to spend tons of time on the road. What's like one of your memories of your dad? What stuff did you do?
Well, my dad had nicknames for me. You know, and I remember one time I was, I think, 5 years old. You know, little kids do stupid things a lot. And I was 5 years old. We were on vacation in Florida. And in the campground where we camped at, ever so often a truck would come through the campground to fog for mosquitoes.
Right, right.
And for some strange reason, it was like a ritual that all the little kids would run and chase after the truck that was fogging the campground. I don't know why. Well, we had just got back from the beach. I was in the tent, and all of a sudden I hear someone screaming, the truck's here, the truck's here. And I took running off out of the tent, running out in the middle of the road, got out in the middle of the road and realized all I had on was a smile. And ever since then, Dad's called me Happy Tracks.
Well, I'm not quite sure that's a fun memory to remember your dad, but
you know, I remember one time, Al, me and a friend of mine, we went to spend a night with another friend of mine, and I was 12 years old, 6th grade. And we went to go spend the night with this friend of mine. We got up Saturday morning. We were getting ready to have a pancake eating contest. We were going to watch Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Hour. Yeah. We had our morning all planned out. We were sitting there at the table, had pancakes stacked up. Well, the friend that I went there with, his dad showed up to pick us up and take us home. And I was like, what are you doing here? And he was like, come on, it's time to go. I said, well, what do you mean it's time to go? We haven't even watched Bugs Bunny yet. He said, oh, come on, it's time to go. So we had to leave, and I didn't really know why. It was early in the morning. And we went back home. My friend that I was with lived across the street from me, and his dad let us out. And I got out and walked across the street and said bye, and I walked in my house, and my house was full of people. And I thought, what are all these people doing in my house? All my relatives and aunts, uncles, grandma, and they all looked kind of weird. You know, they had a weird look on my face. And the first thought that went through my mind when I walked in the house was, my dog died. Coco's gone. I mean, that's what I thought.
Sure.
Well, what I didn't know was I was getting ready to get the worst news of my life, and really shocked. My mom took me back in my bedroom, and she sat me down, and she said, Jeff, there's something that I need to tell you. She said, last night your dad was driving home from Detroit, and he was in a car accident and was killed. 1 minute I was playing with my friends, and the next minute my mom's telling me I'm never going to see my dad again. And so from that point on, it was just me and Mom. No dad around, I had the best mom in the world, but, she couldn't go to the father-son banquets, for the football team. She couldn't do a lot of things that dads could do, and I still, today, miss the days that I didn't get to have with my dad and growing up with that.
You know, Jeff, one of the things we're talking about on the show today, we're talking about how to survive in a fatherless home. You know, maybe you're watching, you know what, maybe your father's abandoned you. Maybe you come from a divorce situation, you hadn't seen your dad in years. Maybe, you know what, maybe your dad doesn't even live around you anymore. Maybe you never hear from him. At the same time, maybe you live in a home and your dad lives there, but you have no contact. You're not even connected with your dad. You feel like you live in a fatherless home even though he's there. Well, listen, this show's for you, because we're talking about how do you survive in a fatherless home and how do you get along. So what we did was we went out and asked kids this question. What do you think of when you hear the word father?
I think of my dad, who's very loving and who always has been.
My father, he's loving and caring.
He cares for me and he's there for me. Any moment, anytime I'm down, anytime I need help.
The kind of person in the household who leads the whole family the right way.
Here's some statistics that will really blow your mind about a fatherless home. Let me tell you this, 63% of all suicides actually come from a fatherless home. In fact, 90% of all the homeless people you see living on the streets, they come from a fatherless home. And 71% of all high school dropouts, they're from a fatherless home. Now, dads, you can tell what I'm talking about. It's pretty significant. Listen to this one. 85% of the youth that are in prison today, I'm talking 85% of them, come from a fatherless home. So what I'm telling you right now is our fathers are important. Our fathers are critical. In fact, if you surveyed a prison, you'd find out that on Mother's Day, they got a record number of cards coming out. But on Father's Day, most of the prisoners don't send anybody any cards. You know why? Because in our society today, our fathers have disconnected from their kids and our kids have disconnected from their fathers. And we're going to keep talking about that. See this book, The Fatherless Home? I want to encourage you to get a pen and a piece of paper. We're going to give you some address because I want to send you this. And if you're growing up in a fatherless home, this book is for you. And like I said, some of you fathers that live in the home, your kids think it's a fatherless home because you're never there. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more right here on the Al Denson Show, so do me a favor. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
The more love you give, the better off that child will be.
Love, definitely, I'd say love. Love is the most important thing.
To show them love and to show them care and to be there with them.
Have fun with them and go play games and watch movies.
If they can't trust their earthly father, it tends to be harder to trust God.
That's the thing that gets you. That's the thing that gets your attention. I mean, because if you don't have love, then you can't have anything. I mean, and that's the thing that gets you on in life is love.
Welcome back to the Al Denson Show. You know, this is one of the best parts because we have a chance to interact with you guys, and it's pretty awesome. Tim, I didn't tell you this. I've got these little stats here that we've been showing on the television. These are stats just showing how much people have been emailing us since it got started. I mean, like, we're getting like 200-something thousand people just hopping on every single month saying, this is what's going on, this is what's happening in my life, I need some help. Beside me is sitting my incredible great friend, Dr. Tim Clinton. He's the president and founder of American Association of Christian Counselors, and one of the great things about Dr. Tim is he does his best to answer your questions from a biblical perspective. You know what? We'll tell you this point. We don't have all the answers, but we want to encourage you guys. And one of the goals in this segment is not only communicate with you, but we take a question from a kid, we take a question from a parent. And this week, Tim, the student's writing, since we're talking about the fatherless home, and she wrote this. She said, Tim, I'm a 16-year-old girl. My mom and dad have been divorced since I was 4 years old. Now, I have not seen my dad since the day they split up. You know, sometimes I want to contact him, but most of the time I'm so mad and angry at him for just not being there and not caring about me. So what do you think I should do?
It's common and natural to want to see your dad. I mean, who wouldn't want it? Who would want to do that? Al, what I'd do is I'd ask myself a couple of questions. First of all, I'd try to brainstorm. What are the pluses and minuses of meeting my father? In the middle of it, I'd ask myself, am I doing this out of a reaction? Maybe because I'm mad at my stepfather, if stepdad's in the picture, or I'm mad at my mom or what have you. If that's true, don't do that. Let me say a flip side. This is a good point just to put a plug to a lot of dads who are gone. I think the social of our day is the absence of dad from the home. Al,
Absolutely.
there are 38 million kids without a dad out there. 50% of them haven't seen their dad in the last year.
That hurts.
It does hurt.
38 million.
38 million kids.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think well, the parents, when they write, the parents kind of have a flip side on it because they're stuck in the middle. And here's this one. Okay. She's a single mom. She goes, I'm a single mom with two sons, one age 14, one age 16. So she's in the house with two teenagers. Yeah. Her question is kind of hard to answer because it says, how can I be both mom and dad? You know, and the thing she goes on to say, she goes on to say that she thought about getting married just to have a dad in the home. Whether she was in love or not, just want to have a dad in the home. Now she's saying, you know what, that's not the right thing to do. How can I be mom and dad to my kid?
Wow. To all the single mom and dads who are out there who are trying to make it and do that very thing, be mom and dad, I mean, we applaud you. I can't think of a more noble thing to do. But Al, my answer is going to be a little tough, I think, on this one. I don't think you can be dad at all, so stop trying to be dad. You can't be. And let me say this, too. All kids need a dad, period. They need a male figure in the home. So if dad's gone, whereas
what do they do?
The girl is gone, I think that's where you go back and you say, Grandpa, you know, Granddad's going to fit this role. An uncle, big brother, big sister program, somebody in the church, somebody who will come in, throw the ball around a little bit, be some type of godly male influence in that kid's life.
Sure.
You've got to get that in there. And so I'd say, Mom, that's what I think you need to do. I don't think you ought to just try to suck it up and do it and go it alone. I don't think you can.
And that's the thing for those of you that are watching. That's why Jesus is so important.
He's the father to the fatherless.
Big time. And that's what the Bible says. And a lot of times, Mom, you have to really lean on your relationship with Christ big time to help influence your child in that fatherless way that you can't pick up the ball. Now listen, we do this segment because we want to hear from you. I encourage you to write us, www.aldenson.com. Just log on the website, do that for us. And I understand, the fatherless home, we've written a book on this. We want to give this to you. And all you got to do is log on the website or simply write us or email us. It's aldenson@aol.com. We'll send you this book as a gift because we understand. How many students are fatherless homes today?
38 million kids out there are going to live at some point in their life without dad in the home.
So this book is needed. Maybe it's not needed in your family, but maybe you know someone that does. Write us, we'll get you this book. And we'll encourage you. We're not done talking about this, so stay tuned. We'll be right back on The Al Denson Show.
Hi, I'm Mark Self, Celebration Ministries. Each week I'd like to share with you just one facet of what Celebration Ministries is doing to reach people for Christ. You know, it is so much more than just this TV show you're watching. We've traveled to hundreds of public schools throughout this year. You know, on any given day you can hear Al's music on the radio. You can walk into Christian bookstores across the country and pick up his music on CD and the books he's authored. You can even interact with us on the internet. You know, God is doing tremendous things through Al and through Celebration Ministries. Just take a look at this one aspect.
You know, I've been doing ministry a long time, and I think the thing that I've noticed the last 2 years is that people are finally saying, I need a safe place where I can talk to somebody about what's going on inside of my heart of hearts. So I want to encourage you guys, if you have a computer, log on to our website. It's simply this, www.aldenson.com. When you log on there, you'll see our homepage, and on the left, you can see all the different categories and places you can click and different sites you can look at. At the same time, you'll notice right there in the front and center, there's prayer requests. And we've created our own staff just to be able to respond to you and to answer you and to help you. And I want to encourage you guys, if you want prayer, if you've got something you're praying about, here's what will happen. When you click prayer request, you'll get a form. You just simply fill that form out. When you get done with that, you'll send it to us. We'll take it. First thing we'll guarantee to do for you, we'll respond back to you. We'll let you know not only that we're praying for you, but we'll let you know what God says about your situation you're going through. At the same time, we print those out. We scratch out your name to keep you confidential. And we got some churches that pray for you. And they will pray for you in that specific need that you have. Also on our website, you can click over to Bible studies. Guess what? You can do a Bible study every single day. And it's pretty cool. At the same time, we get so many different letters from kids on some common topics. And we've identified those to be about 34 topics. And you can run down these 34 topics: anger, frustration, suicide, and there'll be some things that will encourage you and help you. Those topics not only will help you, they'll help you when you have other people that you're trying to help that have those problems. We've also got what I consider to be a great site. It's about our television show. If we're talking about a topic, whatever that topic is, we take all the research and all the notes that we've done, and we create a book on it. And we take this book and we simply offer it to you. You'll click on the TV icon. The minute you get there, you'll see a different page for that. You can click on the booklet offer, see all the covers of the books. Click on which book you want, fill out the form, and we'll mail you that book. It has been amazing to me how many people email us, how many people write us, and just let us know what's going on. And I want to say thank you very much.
Welcome back to the Al Denson Show. Man, we're talking about a tough subject, a very, very tough subject. It's called the fatherless home. And by the way, you know what? You may be sitting there going, well, my dad's at home. But the truth is, when you stop and think about it, your dad's really never home. And you may be growing up in a fatherless home, even though you have your mom and dad living in the same home. Well, listen, we have an incredible guest. Let me tell you about this guy, okay? I mean, he graduated from Baylor University. He's got a wife. I mean, he's working on his master's degree. He's extremely intelligent. But what makes him qualified to talk here is because he grew up in a fatherless situation. And I think you'll understand. And what better person to tell you about what's going on inside their heart of hearts than someone who has been there. So please welcome to the Al Denson Show, Bo Eggert. Y'all give Bo a hand. Well, thanks, Bo. Hang out and have a good time. Okay. Now, Bo, the truth is, man, I'm excited you're here, and I also know that this subject is very personal to you. And for part of that, I say I'm sorry, because I know it was tough growing up, but kind of tell us why it's so personal.
Well, the most simple answer is that I grew up in a fatherless home. When I was 4 years old, my mom and dad divorced, and my dad left.
Was that hard?
Real hard. I wondered why he didn't want to have anything to do with me.
Yeah.
And it was tough. And then once again in the 4th grade, my mom remarried, and then 6 months later, he was gone. So really it happened twice.
Yeah, like a double whammy on you.
Double whammy. And I really dealt with that hard, struggling. You know, why don't they want to have anything to do with me? What is it about me? You know, in divorce situations, they always say it's just between your parents. But that's not the way it feels to a child that's in it.
Well, I noticed, I mean, the divorce rate in the United States is, I think it's as high as it's ever been. What kind of problem is a fatherless home placing on our kids today?
Well, the biggest problem with fatherless homes is that it's associated with almost every other social problem. Just coming from a fatherless home, you're more likely to get incarcerated, you're more likely to drop out of school, young teenage girls are more likely to get pregnant, behavioral problems, everything you name.
All that from not having a father in the home?
The chances are, it screams at you. The statistics are so alarming. It's an epidemic.
Well, the sad part is, okay, now you just created this epidemic, which is true. It's going on right now. And we have tons of people watching who goes, man, this guy's talking to me, man. Now I'm fixing to be this statistic. Well, how do we offer the people who are watching, how do we offer them hope?
Well, in the 5th grade, a football coach pulled me aside after the 2nd divorce, and he began to tell me about a father that would never leave me and never forsake me. And I thought, who's that?
Yeah.
That's unreal. There's no way. And he told me about Jesus Christ, that he was the perfect father. And I accepted that. I didn't think there could be anything better. And the hope that I can offer to so many of you guys watching is, you know, I love that Paul in Hebrews, he talks about that we don't have a high priest that doesn't know what it's like, doesn't know our struggles. He put on the flesh, he became human, he knows what it's like to be a man. In the same way, so many of us that come from these fatherless homes, we're the ones that are best able to go out and to be leaders and to reach people that feel hopeless, that feel like that the world's abandoned them. You know, it's a choice. You can become another statistic, or you can become an overcomer, a leader. And I choose, and I've chosen not to become a part of that. I couldn't control my circumstances, but I could choose how to respond to them. And that's what I've done. That's what I hope I'll do with the rest of my life.
Bo's right. Jesus will never let you down. He'll never forsake you. He'll never leave you alone. And he'll always be true to his word. That's why he gave us the Bible. And I understand. Some of you guys are going, hey, man, I'm not quite sure. Listen, man, I understand. I know it's tough. And we've written this book for you called The Fatherless Home. And the reason we wrote this is because we want to give it to you. Because we know it's a journey. It's a struggle. And you know what? It's tough, Bo, isn't it?
It is.
And let me tell you how to give it to you. First thing we're going to do is we're going to give it to you free. It's a gift from us to you to help you make peace and understand how to survive from a fatherless home. So we'll give it to you. Here's how you get it. You simply write our address. It's the Al Denson Show, Box 220, Grapevine, Texas, 76099. Or what you can do if you want it right now, you can log on to our website. Here's how you can do that. You type in www.aldenson.com. You click on the TV icon, the Al Denson Show, then you'll find out this bunch of little purple boxes, and one of them says free booklet offer. Click on that booklet offer, then you'll see this book cover. Just download the book. You get the graphics, covers, everything. Download it and take a look at it and begin your journey. And you'll find out when you start working through the Fatherless Home, you'll find out one of the most important tools in that is making peace with the Heavenly Father. In fact, I want to show you this video. I had a chance to write a song with a couple friends of mine called He's Watching Me. And it's about a kid who didn't have his mom anymore. She died. And all he had was his dad, and his dad was blind. But you know what? His dad loved him to death. And then one day something happened. So I want you to watch this. I hope this helps you out. Hey, listen, be sure and get the book. Here's a new video called He's Watching Me.
Back in '63, my little league career had just begun. I had 2 left feet, yet I believed that I could rise above. I watched the bigger kids and prayed the coach would put me in, but I sat on the bench. Well, my biggest fan sat in the stands for each and every game. And though he was blind, he listened for the coach to call my name. Please, coach, let me play. 'Cause you see, my dad, he's watching me. Yes, my dad's so proud of me. Even though my dad can't see, he's watching me. You see, my dad, he's watching me. Yes, my dad's so proud of me. Even though my dad can't see, he's here for me. Well, the weeks went by and summertime was almost at an end. It was a special day, I just had to play. I may not get this chance again. So the coach put me in, and underneath the stars at night, I got my first hit. When I crossed the plate, tears on my face as I looked into the stands. And I nodded to the empty seat that used to be my dad's. And the coach said, sorry son, your daddy wasn't here to see. And I said, yes he was. I guess you didn't hear the news, my daddy passed away. And I know Jesus touched his eyes, and for the first time, my daddy's really watching me. It's my dad so proud of me. Up in heaven, Dad can see, he's watching me. You see, my daddy's watching me. It's my dad so proud of me. Up in heaven, Dad can see, he's watching me. Up in heaven, Dad, he sees. He's watching me. Oh, he's watching me, because that's my daddy.
You know, you see the smile on that little boy's face. And I remember in a high school assembly when a kid walked up to me after the assembly, he told me that story. And that's how we ended up writing that song, just based off that little story that kid had read. You know, it's hard growing up in a home without a dad. And dads are important. Not only are dads important, dads are significant. And you know, each one of us in our heart of hearts, even those of you that are adults that you're watching, maybe you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. If you didn't have a relationship with your dad, sometimes even though maybe your dad's passed away, it still seems like you're doing your best to get your dad's approval, to work through, to find love, to find acceptance. Let me tell you something, we're all wired the same way. We all want to be loved. We all want to be accepted. And if you're growing up in a fatherless home, or you feel like your dad's not around, or dad's not connected in your life, listen to me. I want to encourage you to do a couple things. First, I want to say this, you do have a father. Psalm 68:5 says, God will be the father to the fatherless. He promises that in the Bible in Psalm 68:5. He says he'll do that for you. At the same time, I want to encourage you to do this. You've got to draw close to God. A lot of people say, because I don't have a good relationship with my dad, that's what I think of a father, that's what I think of the father. So they don't have a good relationship with God because they don't have one with their dad. And God's saying, look, I know we make mistakes. I know you want to be loved. I know you want to be accepted. Give me a chance. You know how much God loved you? God loved you enough that says, I'll earn the right to be your father. And he sent his own son Jesus to a cross, and Jesus died. And as hard as that was for him to watch his son die, Jesus died so God could be your father. And I want to encourage you guys, if you're struggling with that, make peace with God. Listen, I got this book I want to offer you. It's a gift from us. It's called The Fatherless Home. And it'll help you on your journey to settle it so you don't have to go through the rest of your life trying to win the approval of somebody when at the same time you've got a Heavenly Father that loves you, saying, I love you and I created you just the way you are. So I want to send you this book as a gift. Simply write us. Our email address is aldenson@aol.com. But better yet, I'd rather you log on to our website. Just go to our website at www.aldenson.com and kind of follow the instructions through there, and you'll see a book that says The Fatherless Home. Click on it. I'll send it to you as a gift. And if you don't have a computer, that's okay. Write us. It's the Al Denson Show, Box 220, Grapevine, Texas, 76099. But listen to me. Most importantly, only you know. God's got you watching this for a reason, so listen to me. Only you know where you are with God. God wants to be your father. But you've got to take down the wall and say, okay, God, here it is. Wrap your arms around me and be my dad. Please do that. Hey, thanks for watching the Al Denson Show. Tune in next week. We'll be back with you. So be sure. If you haven't got the book, be sure and grab it now. The Fatherless Home. See you soon. Take care. Much better.
We receive so many calls and letters from parents saying, help me, my kids are out of control. They have no respect for authority, they're hooked on drugs or on alcohol, they don't come home at night. What do we do? Well, I want to tell you about a safe place. This place is called Heartland. And Heartland is about restoring your child through a relationship with Jesus Christ. But they're uniquely different in the fact that they offer work programs to also instill discipline in your child and get a pride of respect for work in there. They have a dairy. They got a farm the kids work on. There's a Christian school the kids attend so they continue to get their education. There's recovery centers that the guys stay in. There's girls' homes that the ladies stay in. They hang out with other kids just like them. They're in Bible studies. They're focused programs. And it's all a part of restoring your teenager through a relationship with Jesus Christ. It's a safe place where you can send your child. If you need help, please email us. We'll send you all kind of information on Heartland. Hey, listen, our kids are worth saving. We've got to act now.
ACB